for coming out today. I'm going to get right to the point. We're going to do the ceremonies, and then we will open it up for a few minutes if anyone does have any questions at the end of all this. So to start things off, I'd like to introduce Hammond current Chief of Police, John Doty.
Hi everyone, welcome to our home. Wonderful crowd here. Let's all stay safe today. But it's a monumentous occasion today. Change of power. Very excited about it. Looking forward to what the police department has to offer for us on this next step of the journey. And without further ado, here's Mayor Thomas McDermott Jr.
Thanks everybody for coming out. I'd like to remind everybody, please keep your masks on and social distance as much as possible. This is a big deal what we're doing right now, and that's why there's so many people here. Obviously it's a historic day in our city, but we're also reminding you we're in the midst of a pandemic and we want to be as safe as possible. But I understand why there's so many people here, because it's a big deal what's happening today. Before I get started and talk about Chief Doty and all of his accomplishments, I want to recognize the elected officials in attendance, so if you don't mind, starting with the most important one to me, Lake County Circuit Court Judge Marissa McDermott. Good to see you, Honorable Marissa. He's not an elected official anymore, but he's an important person in the city of Hammond. He's the former mayor of the city, Tom McDermott Sr. Good to see you, Dad. He's our council president. He's the 5th District Councilman, Dave Warple. Thank you very much, Councilman. She's Councilwoman at Large, Janet Vanez. Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Hammond 6th District Councilman Scott Rakos. Thank you very much, Councilman. Councilman at Large Dan Spitali. Thank you very much, Councilman. He's our 2nd District Councilman and a retired Hammond police officer, Pete Torres. Thank you very much, Councilman. He's our Lake County Councilman. He's the former fire chief for the city of Hammond and a former police officer in the Hammond Police Department, Dave Ham. Thank you very much, Councilman. And our great new state rep, doing a great job for us already, Mike Andrade, Representative. I don't see Barry Tyler in here. I'm not sure if he's upstairs or downstairs, but he's our 3rd District Councilman. I know he's very proud, Barry Tyler. I'm going to assume you're here someplace, Councilman. Good to see you. And I hopefully didn't miss any more. To the members of the Hammond Police Department, thank you very much for everything you do. We all appreciate it very much. I know the residents of Hammond do. Thank you. Today was a rough week in America, and in Hammond. It was one of the weeks I'll probably never forget. It's sad and it's very happy at the same time, but started Monday morning for me, my first meeting back after our break, and I had a letter on my desk, which is never good news on a Monday. I've learned that in time. My letter was from Chief John Doty saying that he wanted to step down. He wanted to remain a Hammond police officer for a couple more years, but for family reasons and for sanity's sake, not that. It's a tough job, what the chief has done. I've only had 2 police chiefs, and I watched how they changed over the time that they held their jobs. And it's literally it's a type of job that you can't turn off. You get phone calls in the middle of the night. And you're supposed to answer them and you're supposed to react to them. And, you know, I got the letter at first and I sort of ignored it, thinking that I'm very persuasive. I'm going to try to persuade my chief. And then, you know, maybe there's something going on I need to know about as mayor. So I said, Chief, come in and talk to me after the meeting. And as hard as I tried, and the more I talked, the more I understood that he was doing this for his own good. He was doing this for the good of his family. And he was doing this, and he said something to me that really hit. He said, Mayor, the police department's working great right now. Wouldn't you rather turn over something that you've been in charge of when it's operating great rather than, you know, the alternative? Rather than the alternative? You hand over something that's not good, or you're not in control of your own destiny? And I get that as the mayor of Hammond. Eventually when I turn over the city, the leadership of the city, I want it to be in great shape. And I understand where the chief is coming from. So after a long conversation, I realized how tough my week was about to be. And I acknowledged to him and I congratulated him on a great career. And it's been a great career for John Doty. If you don't mind, I'd like to read a few things off about our chief. Chief John Doty was recruited by the Hammond Police Department in 1983 graduate of the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. During his tenure, he has served in numerous capacities, including patrol officer, field training officer, narcotics detective, evidence technician, and canine handler. Also, while working with the Hammond Police Department, John was assigned to the DEA task force and was a member of the Hammond SWAT team. Chief Doty attained the ranks of first class patrolman, second class patrolman, corporal, sergeant, captain, assistant chief for 8 years, and currently serves as the chief of police, an office he's held since 2014. He's also a veteran of the United States Army. Chief Doty and his team of 205 officers are committed to providing its citizens with the safest living environment possible. His department strives to be the most professional and best trained police department in the state of Indiana. He is very proud of his department and the citizens they serve, and under his leadership, several achievements have been recorded. The police department has been able to control Hammond's crime rates while promoting community and unity and enforcing police cities' accountability. Body cameras have been instituted and the department's use of force policy was modified. He appointed Hammond's first African-American assistant police chief and made strong efforts to make the department more diverse in order to reflect the city's population. Also, a landmark agreement forming the Hammond's Police Citizens Advisory Commission was signed by Chief Doty and Mayor McDermott and other community leaders. The Hammond Police Department also engages with the community with life-enhancing events, which include Coffee with a Cop, basketball games, hosting National Night Out, and numerous other events. His department is committed to dealing with criminal activities, drunken drivers, and other violations with an effective community crime watch, which is unmatched by surrounding communities. Chief Doty is a lifelong resident of the city of Hammond and has ensured that the Hammond Police Department strives to make Hammond one of the safest communities in Indiana and the surrounding states. Can you please give a warm welcome to Chief John Doty so he can say a few words about his department.
Thank you. I'll try not to take up too much time because we're really here for these gentlemen over here. But I would like to reflect a little upon my career. Take a moment to do that if you don't mind. I was a corporal working the street and patrol when Brian Miller called me in and wanted me to be his patrol captain. I never imagined doing that job. I never wanted that job. I was honored to even be thought of for it. The mayor had just taken over and appointed Brian through a selection process that was unique and never seen before in Hammond. He took applications and he believed what he was doing was right. He picked the best man for the job, a Republican, as I remember. So he had just won here as a Democrat and he picked a Republican because he wanted the best guy for the job, hands down. Brian called me in. I didn't know the mayor, got to know him afterwards. We developed a relationship that I think was very unique and long-lasting. Brian had a setback and I had to step up for a while in his position. At that time, the mayor and I got closer together. We formed a good friendship and a professional bond for sure. And later, he would give me the opportunities that I have now. And I've always appreciated my relationship with him. He's always let me be a professional chief. He's always listened to what I have to say. He's encouraged me. I remember the first thing he told me when I started being chief was, okay, Brian did all this. He says, I'm going to challenge you today to come up with new programs that have your name on it, and I'm going to have you fulfill those and take the police department to a newer and better place. With the help of the people to the right of me, we have done just that. But unless you have that kind of boss that gives you that leeway and gives you a free hand, it won't happen. So I was very fortunate to have that. I was always very fortunate to have these people here. You know, we all came up together. Most of us were in K-9 together. Some new people came on along the way. My office staff, we truly did become like a family as we moved up through the ranks. We always stayed together, and here we are today. So Mayor, thank you for that.
Thank you, Chief.
We're not done with you yet, Chief. You know, it's true. When I took over as mayor, I appointed a sergeant that was a Republican as the chief of police, and eventually a corporal that I didn't even know as the assistant chief of police. And they led us well for a long time. I've been mayor 17 years. I've had 2 chiefs. And I think at the time I took over as Mayor Hammond, that's what we needed, is stability in the police department. And it's been very stable. And I want to thank you and Chief Miller, who could not make it today. He wanted to be here, but he's out of state, actually. I wanted to thank both of them for the great job they've done over the years leading the Hammond Police Department. And I'm very positive that our next chief is going to lead us just as ably and just as efficiently as you guys have. But before you leave, Chief, I've only handed out a few of these since I've been mayor. I think handing out the highest award I can hand out is something I should do sparingly to make it more special. And in this case, I knew that we had to get this going. A key to the city is hereby presented to Hammond Police Chief John Doty. Let me read it off before I pass it over. I already informed him this is symbolic only. It doesn't give him the keys to my office or anything. This key to the city is hereby presented to Hammond's Police Chief John J.D. Doty in a grateful appreciation of your 36 years of service to the Hammond City Police Department and the last 7 years as the police chief for the City Police Department. Your hard work and your dedication to the city, Hammond, and its citizens are commendable. Thank you for making Hammond a safer place. We all appreciate you very much. Presented this 8th day of January 2021. Congratulations, Chief Doty.
Thank you. As I'm getting closer to retirement, I am having a little wall of fame. I'm building in my man cave in my garage, and this will be at the top of it now. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. Thanks, Chief. Now for the good part. Not that that wasn't great, and I appreciate what you've done for the Hammond Police Department and the citizens, Chief Doty. Congratulations on a great tour. Next, William Andy Short. The Assistant Chief of Police is about to become Hammond's new police chief. Let's give him a big round of applause. Andy was hired by the Hammond Police Department September 26, 1988, and is a graduate of the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. Andy was promoted to first class patrolman in 1989, second class patrolman in 1990, corporal in 1996, sergeant in 2000, and lieutenant in 2006. During his tenure with the Hammond Police Department, he has served in the patrol division as a patrol officer. As a K-9 handler, he was also part of the bike patrol program and a SWAT officer with the Hammond Police Department SWAT team. He was assigned to the Special Deployment Division, where Andy performed the duties of the Gang Narcotics Unit officer. And he was assigned to the Drug Enforcement Administration's HIDTA Task Force in Lake County. William Andy Short was assigned to the Internal Affairs Division for 5 years, and in 2016, he was promoted as the first African-American Assistant Police Chief in the City of Hammond's Police Department history. On November 12, 2020, history was made when he took this position.
Yes.
Today, history is made again, as William Short is now the first African-American police chief in the City of Hammond's proud history. Let's give a warm congratulations to Hammond's new police chief, Andy Short. He's been waiting a long time.
Yes, he has.
For this position.
Yes.
And you know, I think there's probably times when, because John Doty was doing such a great job, there's probably a lot of times Andy thought he would never see this day. And it's here, you've earned it. You got this, Andy, because you're a great police officer.
Yes, you are, Daddy. Yay!
Who happens to be African American. He got this because he's the best police officer, ready to take this responsibility right now. Let's give it up for the new police chief, Andy Short.
Wow. When I came on, I didn't have glasses. I had a lot of hair. I was able to chase people. But now,
You still can.
okay. Good morning. I give all honor to God, who is the head of my life. Mayor, Minister of Alliance, councilpersons, officers, family, and friends. I humbly accept the mayor's decision appointing me as Chief of Police for the Hammond Police Department. I would like to say that I am honored and surprised. I got this vest on so you guys don't even see how I welcome the new responsibility as the Chief of Police. I plan to give the city of Hammond and the Hammond Police Department my all. I would like to acknowledge Mayor Tom McDermott Sr. for giving me the first opportunity as a policeman. And now his son, Mayor Thomas McDermott Jr., for appointing me as chief of the Hammond Police Department, a great department, my department. To the men and women of the Hammond Police Department, thank you for your support. And to John Doty, it has been a joy working with you. I want to personally thank my family and the city of Hammond for the love and support that you always have shown me. Thank you very much.
I'll give you your badge, right? You're gonna need that, I think. You know, my vision's not great, and I saw 3 badges and 2 people left, so. You know, Andy previously held the role as Assistant Chief of Police. So when you make promotions like this, he vacates a spot as well, and it's an important spot. The number 2 position in the police department is a gentleman I've known since the day I walked into City Hall. He's a friend of mine. He's a great police officer as well. I know his family. I know his DNA, and I know he's going to be a great Assistant Chief. I know his DNA in a good way. Yeah, I heard some chuckles. I just wanted. Jeffrey Long has served in this position before, Hammond Police Chief. Hammond Assistant Police Chief, and he's done it well then, and he's going to do it well again. I'm looking forward to it. But let's go through Jeffrey Long's career, if you don't mind. Formerly, Hammond Captain Jeff Long, new Hammond's Assistant Chief, was hired by the Hammond Police Department in 1989 and is a graduate of the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. During his time with the Hammond Police Department, he has served in the capacity as a patrol sergeant and shift lieutenant, field training officer, canine handler, SWAT officer, and was assigned to internal affairs for 5 years. Jeff has attained the ranks of first-class patrolman, second-class patrolman, corporal, sergeant, lieutenant, and fulfilled the duties of captain for almost 12 years. He previously held the title as Assistant Chief for 4 years. That's every position he could possibly attain in the city of Hammond. He's held it. It's a fact. This guy is very well qualified for this job. Jeff is a veteran of the United States Army and is a lifelong resident of the city of Hammond. Jeff brings a wealth of supervisory experience to the position of Assistant Chief, and he's going to do an excellent job. Congratulations to Hammond's new Assistant Chief of Police, Jeff Long.
Hope everybody doesn't mind if I take this off for a second. I didn't write anything down, but I do want to thank everybody for being here this morning. I also want to thank God for leading me in my life. I think that's very important. I want to thank the mayor for his support, his friendship, and his guidance, basically. He's always supported the police department in every way he can. I'd like to give my sincere thanks to John Doty. We've been together most of our career. John was an excellent chief. I learned a lot from him, and he's going to be working another job that we'll be working hand in hand, and I look forward to that. I also want to thank Chief Short. You know, it was his decision too to put me in this position, and I really appreciate that. I remember the days back in Car 3 and Car 4 when Andy and I first got hired. I won't tell you some of those stories, but I will tell you that we've heard every long and short joke there is to be made. So I do challenge you to come up with some new ones if you can. And I also thank everybody else in the police department, the men and women. I promise to support you. We promise to support you. We promise to always be there, and I hope that I can lead by example. And I just want to thank everybody again for being here. Thank you very much.
He took my joke. There goes that one. Continuing now that Jeff Long, who previously held the position of Captain of Patrol, which is I don't know, 110 officers in patrol, is that accurate?
About 130.
130 officers in patrol. Obviously, one of the more important captain positions in the city of Hammond. They're all important, but this is a very important one just because of the number of people that report to you. We had to make sure that we filled that with a strong candidate who is experienced in patrol, and we found that person, another person I've known for a quite long time, former Lieutenant Rob Bunner. If you don't mind while I go through Rob's background before we give a round of applause. Lieutenant Bunner was employed with the Hammond Police Department in 1999. He's a graduate of the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy. He has attained the ranks of second-class patrolman, first-class patrolman, corporate, sergeant, master sergeant, and was promoted to lieutenant in 2015. Rob was assigned to the patrol division, where he was a field training officer, to the Special Deployment Division, and was a member of the Hammond Police Honor Guard. He is currently a certified instructor for emergency vehicle operations. Rob has been a member of the Hammond Police Tactical Team for 14 years and is currently a tactical team leader. Lieutenant Bunner has been operating as a supervisor in the patrol division for 11 years. He has been acting in the capacity of field training officer coordinator since 2017 and is a United States Army veteran. Can you please give a warm welcome and congratulations to the new captain of patrol, formerly Lieutenant and now Captain Rob Bunner. Captain Bunner prefers to speak to his men directly, the men and women directly. I'd like to, first off, call Lieutenant Kellogg back up. And I just want to say, you know, I acknowledge today is an important day in Hammond's history. It's an important day in the history of the Hammond Police Department. And I know Andy and Jeff and Rob very well. I know we're in capable hands and we're going to do a great job, and the men and women in the Hammond Police Department are top notch, the best in Indiana, without a doubt. So I'm looking forward to what this team brings us, but again, Chief Doty, a lot of great things happened under your tenure at the Hammond Police Department. Body cams, one of the first cities in Indiana where all officers wear body cams, right? LPR, license plate reader technology, that's not just used by the Hammond Police Department. It's used by DEA, FBI, it's used by surrounding police departments. We spearheaded that under your leadership. Something called the Academy Bound program that doesn't get as much mention, and it helped us diversify our police department and hire more Hammond police officers and hire more police officers that look like our residents. It happened under you, JD. You did a great job as chief of police. I understand why people don't want to be chief more than 7 years, but I dare say 7 years is probably longer than 95% of the police chiefs you see around Indiana. So one more time for a great career as police chief, JD. I'll open it up to any questions from the press. Yes.
Carrie Napoleon with the Post Tribune.
Hi, Carrie.
Chief, I'd like to know your feelings on being the first African-American police chief in Hammond.
I'm speechless.
Oh, no, that's right.
It's a great honor. It's a great honor, and it's an honor for everybody. I appreciate everybody that's here. I appreciate all races, and I look forward to talking to everybody like I've always done in the past. Thank you.
If I could add a little to that, we were hoping to delay this announcement another week and get it as close to MLK Day as possible. But what is not possible is when you're making a big move like this, is keeping everybody, their excitement under control. We were losing control of the story, and there's no way we'd have made it till next Friday. So we decided to announce it sooner. But you know, obviously with MLK Day, you know, coming up in another week or so, I think that this is just a great example of a diverse city committed to more diversity. You know, Hammond has a diverse population. We have 25% African American population in the last census, 30% Hispanic population in the last census, 45% Caucasian in the last census, and our police department needs to look like that. And that's important to me as mayor. I know it's important to our new police chief and to the new administration, and we're going to keep working on it. It's not there yet. I'm not going to sit back and say, look what we've done. We haven't. we're not there yet, but every day we get a little bit closer, and Chief Short's going to help us get there. I know that. So thank you for the question. Any other questions? No other questions? I'm sure, and I'm sure there's going to be pictures of a lot of pictures being taken. I want to remind everybody, please keep your mask on. Please keep social distancing. I want to recognize Hammond's Public Information Officer, Lieutenant Steve Kellogg. Could you give him a big round of applause also, please? Steve, you want to go ahead and close it out?
Thank you, Mayor, and congratulations to our new administration. It's going to be a great term. I wanted to say we're going to try and do our photographs underneath by our wall here. Be a good backdrop for you. So when you do congregate, if you could please maybe try not to congregate there, so photos can be taken there. Please stick around for refreshments that are available in the training room right next door. Thank you all for coming.